All right, I believe we're back. Let's now head over to the DS thing. Oh yeah, I already have my DS up. Oh, just gotta check something over here. Because now it's time for us to head over to Ace Attorney 3, the final in the original timeline's not the right word there, but it kind of fits. So let's get this party started. Open ROM. I did install it, right? Yes, I did. Wahoo! All right, so let's get right on into it. I'm excited to start this one because I hear Trials and Tribulations is by and large the fan favorite of the original trilogy, so this should be interesting. I unmuted the game, right? No, I did not. Grateful I heard that. Turnabout Memories? It's an unusual name for a first case, but okay. We should probably also raise the game's volume a little bit. Huff, huff. How did I get into this mess? Good question, whoever you are. Why did I do that? That girl, you shouldn't see her anymore. What the mech-fuck? I'm telling you for your sake. If you continue to see her, it's gonna be bad news. You're lying! Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Stop it! Don't talk about her like that! Yes? There's two packages. One's a pre-order, one is, yeah, that's the one that should be here. There's another email. It should be a pre-order one. Wait, what the hell? Nick killed someone? Game. Stream. Don't worry, Mom. 5 years earlier, Maya's second trial.
I'm looking for this other email you're talking about. I don't see it. I guess I'll keep looking.
It can wait until tomorrow. Well, these are plot events. Phew. Wait, we're playing as Mia? Shit. Phew, it's finally time. I'm kind of nervous. Damn. Oh, Mr. Grossberg, good morning. He's wearing red. It's not right. Ah, Mia, please calm yourself down. You're going to get yourself arrested for suspicious behavior, you know. What are you talking about? I am relaxed, Mr. Grossberg. Look at me. I'm relaxed.
Let go of my lapels. You obviously haven't got the temperament to be a lawyer.
I'm so sorry. It's just that I'm so nervous today.
Oh, that's right. This is your first time in the Beagle Eggs, isn't it? Well, never you fear, my dear. I'm Marvin Grossberg, and I'm at your service.
Actually, this is my second time in court.
Still, you surprised me. What with your earnest request last night? Let me handle this case, you suddenly said. And quite forcefully, too.
I just found out yesterday about the case. I mean...
What, you've already learned all the relevant facts?
Well, about that. You see, I mean, of course I have. I think.
Oh, dear. In any case, don't let our client see you so nervous. You see the poor young man in the pink sweater over there? That's our client.
Oh my god, what is that sweater, Phoenix? Good morning there, everybody. Good morning. Try to keep smiling, Mia. I just want to say, I'll give it all I got. Yep, it'll be fine, no prob. Spreading that Rona around, Nick. Oh, what's wrong? Do you have a cold or something, Mr. Wright? Actually, it's Wright. Like the Flying Brothers. People screw it up all the time. And yes, I have a cold. That's just what this mask is for. My doc says this way I won't give it to anyone else. Be kind to others, he says. He gets it. Right, Mr. Wright. You have nothing to fear in court today. If you're truly innocent, I promise I'll save you.
Please let go of my shirt.
That's right, he's the one on trial, not you. He's the one who should be nervous. You need to stay strong for your client, Mia. My name is Mia Fey. I'm still pretty new at this lawyer thing. The first time I appeared in court was a year ago. Her mother's case? But that trial traumatized me so badly I thought I'd never set foot in another courtroom. It's been 1 year since then, and, well, here I am again. But this time I'll win. For my client and for myself. Sorry if I seem a little distracted. There's a big conversation going on in one particular server I'm in. And it's funny seeing it unfold.
Court is now in session for the trial of Phoenix Wright.
The defense is ready, Your Honor. He has a fucking... What is that hair? Why does he have a pompadour?
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense today is Miss Mia Fey, was it?
Yes, Your Honor. Is there a problem?
I was under the impression that Marvin Grossberg would be leading the defense.
Yes, well, you see, Mr. Grossberg had a bit of an emergency.
Emergency? But isn't that him standing right there next to you?
Well, yes.
You're just a rookie. Are you sure you can really handle this?
Don't let him scare you, Mia. Give him your toughest look. Of course, Your Honor. I think.
Well, Mr. Payne, your opening statement, please.
Well.
I can't believe a veteran like me has to spend his time babysitting a new defense lawyer. Don't worry, little girl. It'll all be over soon.
Mr. Oh, Jesus Christ. He's already creepier than he was in the first 2 games. What was that all about? Was he trying to trash talk me?
Now then, I'd like to proceed with a summary of the events on the day in question. The incident occurred on the campus of Ivy University. The murder victim was a student named Doug Swallow. He was a 4th-year student studying pharmacology.
It sounds like he was a very bright young man.
Yes, well, next we have a photo taken at the scene of the crime. Students discovered the scene shortly after the murder. They found the victim's body. And the defendant, who had obviously bungled his getaway. They then called the police.
That certainly makes the defendant look very suspicious indeed. Very well. The court accepts this photo into the record as evidence. By the way, I can't quite tell the cause of death from this photo.
The truth is that this victim died a rather unusual death.
An unusual death?
What do you mean, Mr. Payne? Well, perhaps the defense would like to take this question.
Huh?
A simple question. I thought I might loosen you up a bit. I am a genteel man, if you will.
What? Stand up to him, Mia. Show him what you're made of.
Ah, perfect opportunity. Well, what was it? The cause. Go on.
Fatal electric shock, which about lines up with what I thought I saw on this. Right. Following this straight line above his body.
Please say you know at least this much.
I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to read through the whole file.
Now see here. The details of the case are filed under the court record. But you knew that already, didn't you?
Ah, the court record. I think I can see that by touching the court record button.
You don't fucking say. All the weapons we need can be found in the court record. I don't know why I'm slowly turning more into Sean Connery. Take a good hard look at the data there and think carefully before you answer, my dear.
Yes, sir, I'll do just that. I've got to stay calm. Can't let that prosecutor get the better of me. The court record. Okay, let's take a look. I just touched the court record button here.
Now then, for the attorney for the defense, please answer this question. What was the cause of death?
Electrocution. According to the court record, it was a fatal electric shock. In other words, electrocution.
Electrocution? But how could such a thing happen? Did the murderer use some type of new super powerful stun gun, perhaps?
The answer to that will become crystal clear as this trial proceeds, Your Honor. But before that, there's one more vital issue. What's that? Why, motive, of course. Apparently, there was some bad blood between the victim and the defendant.
Bad blood?
What do you mean?
Oopsie, I'm terribly sorry. You're the defense attorney, so you must know all about it. I shouldn't be stealing your spotlight like this.
I really don't like this guy's smug attitude.
That's Winston Payne for you. He is one smooth operator.
Are you fucking serious? No, he ain't.
They don't call him the rookie killer for nothing, you know? Now then, let's hear from the defense. What was the source of the bad blood between the victim and the defendant? And this time, I would like to see some supporting evidence.
Evidence?
As I said, all our weapons can be found in the court record. Find the evidence you need and then shove it into old Greybeard's face.
Yes, sir, into old Greybeard's face.
Mr. Grossberg, try to set a better example for the young lady. Mia, evidence is the only thing in the court record. People's profiles are there as well.
Okay, so that's still in here. Oh. Girlfriend trouble.
Gotcha. You can toggle between profiles and evidence, so be sure to go over it all. Now then, let's see what you got.
It would be the girlfriend. The reason for the bad blood between the two of them was this woman here.
Dahlia Hawthorne, is it?
Very good, Miss Fay. You seem to have picked up on that much, at least. This woman is the girlfriend of the defendant, Phoenix Wright. But up until about 8 months ago, she was with the victim, Mr. Swallow. Clearly she has some part to play in this story.
Ah, he's done it again. Before the cross-examination starts, he's already got the judge thinking like he wants. Very well, Mr. Payne. Please call your first witness.
If this pleases the court, the prosecution would like to call Mr. Phoenix Wright.
What? The defendant himself? Well, Miss Fay?
It's fine. After all, Mr. Wright's innocent, right? The defense has no objection.
Very well. Court calls Mr. Phoenix Wright to the witness stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Yes, my name is Phoenix Wright. My job is, well, right now I guess I'm a suspect. No, he means what you do before you were arrested. Oh! I was a university student. Mr. Wright, you understand that you are suspected in the death of your fellow student, Doug Swat.
But I didn't do it.
I'm innocent, I tell you. Would the defendant please refrain from passing on his coat to the rest of us? It seems the witness has something he wants to say. Please tell us about your relationship to the victim.
Right away, Your Honor. Not sure how I feel about this testimony song. I admit I was there, but I'm not a killer. All I did was find his body. I hardly knew the guy to begin with. I don't even talk to that stuck-up British wannabe.
I see. So you hardly knew the victim.
Right, like I said, I'm not a killer.
Whew, looks like the judge understands. You're being naive, you know. Too naive.
Huh?
It seems that you've forgotten one small thing, young lady. And that would be... This witness still has to undergo something called cross-examination.
That's my job, not yours. Cross-examination?
He's right, and it's the defense's duty to carry out the cross-examination. The purpose is to determine if a witness's testimony contains any contradictions.
Contradictions?
If a witness is lying, their statement will conflict with the court record.
But Mr. Wright's my client.
Even if he is your client in court, all lies must be struck down. As a lawyer, that is your duty, you see.
What does he mean by that? Is he saying that testimony just now, there was a lie? A contradiction?
Now then, your cross-examination, if you please, Miss Fay.
Please, Mr. Wright, tell me you haven't been lying. You wouldn't do that to me, would you? Well, I already know how to do this. When you say there, you mean the place the victim was murdered? Yeah, sort of. The place where something happened, anyway.
Something. You can't hide what happened. We have photographic evidence.
Anyway, Mr. Wright, what were you doing at the scene of the crime? I thought you said you didn't know the victim, Mr. Swallow. It was just a coincidence. We bumped into each other by accident.
A coincidence, huh?
You say you found out the body? So who called the police? Huh?
Unfortunately, it was some other students that notified the police.
Other students?
That's correct. They were the witnesses. Witnesses who saw the defendant standing there next to the body in shock.
What? Is this true, Mr. Wright? I'm gonna stop doing the sneezing sound effects. That's gonna kill me eventually. Could you stop sneezing every time you're in a bind? Well, it's true I was pretty shocked when I found the body. But I... No harm in pressing every sentence on an early case, at least. So you didn't even know his face or even his name, right? Right. Well, no. So, which is it? Did you know him or not?
Now see here, you can't avoid answering the question by sneezing all day.
Well, I guess I did know him. I guess I did know his name, rather. News to me. Why didn't he tell me that before? I heard he used to date Dolly.
Who is this Dolly person? Ah, yes, that would be the defendant's lover, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Oh, I see. Ah, young love, so bittersweet.
But that's all I knew about him. Hold on a second. Was he British? Mr. Wright, you stated in the following in your testimony. I hardly knew the guy to begin with. That's right. I mean, why would I even... But that doesn't sound right. If you hardly knew him, then why would you say the victim was a stuck-up British wannabe? Well, Mr. Wright? No, it wasn't me. I'm not a killer, I swear.
Mr. Wright, I'll give you an opportunity to revise your testimony. How is it you knew the victim was, as you put it, a British wannabe?
Yes, well... He was always walking around with a huge Union Jack on the back of his shirt. Did you see it at the crime scene? The Union Jack, I mean. Yeah, that's right. I saw it at the crime scene. That's why I figured he must love British stuff. See? It's true, cross my heart. I swear I didn't do it. He's acting fishier than the salmon I ate last night.
May I ask you something, Miss Fay?
Yes, Your Honor. What is it now?
Who is this person anyway, this Union Jack fellow?
The Union Jack is the name of flag of England.
Oh, I see. So you mean like stars and stripes, right?
Yeah, as usual, Your Honor. Your insight astounds me. Hey, something just occurred to me. Isn't there something strange about this bit just now?
Mia, there's a contradiction here.
Mr. Grossberg.
Quickly now, show that boy you mean business. With evidence, I mean.
Okay, Mia. Check the court record carefully.
Well, my dear, think you can manage on your own from this point?
Yeah, I probably can. 1 year ago, I was in a courtroom just like this. I can do it. I can handle this myself.
You mustn't try to bite off more than you can chew, Mia.
I'll be fine. I know what I have to do.
Remember, you can always press him to get more information. Oh, and one more thing.
When you're going to state a contradiction, make sure you present some definitive proof. Okay, Mia. One more time from the very beginning of his testimony. I think, if it's anything, I have to present something here. But what? No, there's not. There is no Union Jack on the back of his shirt, Nick. Are you certain you saw the Union Jack? Yeah, I'm sure it was right there on his back.
Miss Fay, is there some points in this line of questioning?
Your Honor, please take another look at the crime scene photo. As you can see, there's absolutely nothing written on the victim's back. Hey, wait a minute. He's wearing a leather jacket. The Union Jack was on the back of the t-shirt he was wearing. I was under the impression that you accidentally came across the body. But if that's really the case, then you wouldn't know that, would you? You'd have no idea at all what he was wearing underneath that jacket. Ooh. I like this song, but it doesn't feel right if this is supposed to be the cornered theme. Mr. Wright, you've been lying to me. Please forgive me. What the fuck is happening?
Mia, you've made our client cry.
Let him. That P on his chest doesn't stand for Phoenix anyway. I can't believe I trusted him. Mr. Wright was all wrong.
That was an impressive bit of cross-examination.
Thank you for uncovering the defendant's lies for me. It's quite clear that this man did not simply stumble upon the scene of the crime. Uh-oh. Did I go too far? By the way, Mr. Wright, you seem to have a rather bad cold. Have you taken any medicine for it? Yeah, I took some, but... Was the medicine that you took an over-the-counter brand? Called Cold Killer X? Yeah, that's right. Kills colds good. Hey, wait a second. How'd you know I'm a big fan of Cold Killer X? Well, I seem to have actually lost it somewhere. He lost it. Does this even have anything to do with the case?
Mr. Wright, shall I tell you where your cold medicine is right now?
Huh?
Your Honor, I'd like you to take another look at the photo from the crime scene.
What's this? In the victim's hand, it's Cold Killer X. Yes, but even I've got a bottle of Cold Killer X in my apartment.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that argument won't work. There's no doubt as to who this bottle of Cold Killer X belonged to, especially since Mr. Wright's fingerprints were all over it.
What?
Sensing his murderous intent, Mr. Swallow must have picked up the bottle of medicine, dropped by Mr. Wright, and hid it in his hand. His purpose in doing so could only have been to identify his killer as Phoenix Wright.
Order! Order in the court!
Your Honor, I'd like to present this photo and bottle as evidence.
Very well. The court will accept them into the record.
Also, the victim's wristwatch was broken.
Broken?
Yes, it ceased functioning when a large wave of electricity passed through it. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have some kind of explanation for all of this?
Oh, my buttocks, my poor hemorrhoid. What the fuck? The truth is, I went because he called me. He was in the pharmacology department, so we agreed to meet at 2:45 behind that building. We talked for a bit, and then around 3, we split up. Then later, when I went back, I found him lying there. I've been taking Cold Killer X for the last 2 or 3 days, but I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime on the day of the accident. Mr. Wright, that's a completely different testimony than the one you gave previously. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I was afraid you wouldn't believe the truth.
You'll forgive me if I say I hardly find your current testimony any more credible.
Miss Fay, please begin your cross-examination.
Oh, please, Mr. Wright. Don't tell me any more lies.
I don't see much I could get out of that one. Anything from this, maybe? Was it Mr. Swallow who indicated you should meet at 2:45? Yeah, and we were both there right on time. You said the victim was in the pharmacology department, correct? Yeah, he was studying how to manufacture and improve pharmaceuticals. Everyone called him the alchemist of IVU. An alchemist? I see. I gotta admit, it was a little suspicious. He had a whole laboratory and everything. It was filled with chemicals and strange machines that run on high voltage electricity. Oh, how fascinating. He sounds like he was quite an ambitious young man. What do I do? Maybe I should ask him for some more details? Anything about the pharmacology department itself? I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about the pharmacology department? Well, okay, sure. I don't know all that much, though. A little bit earlier in your testimony, you said something interesting. You said the department uses strange machines that run on high voltage electricity? That's right, and they sure look dangerous. They use non-standard voltages, so there are high voltage cables everywhere. High voltage cables? Yeah, there were electrical poles set up all over the building. The high voltage cables run overhead around the roof. Finally, I think we're getting somewhere. Where'd you go? So, what was it you were talking about? You know, that maybe we should hang out again sometime? Hang out again sometime? I wish that were true. So you say you went back. Yeah, that's when I found the body. Yes, but why did you go back in the first place? Weren't you angry with him? Well, that's right, I was. Then why, Mr. Wright? Why did you go back there? I thought maybe we could make up. Judging by the atmosphere, I'm pretty sure no one's buying this. It's rather unusual to catch a cold this time of year, isn't it? Yeah, I always get a little careless when the weather starts to warm up. I guess I shouldn't sleep with the window open this early in spring. I suppose common sense is not always common. So, did anyone else know you were taking cold medicine? Well, I always took one after meals, so I'm pretty sure all my friends knew about it. Friends as in plural? You had more than Larry? I'm so proud of you. On the day of the incident, what did you do for lunch? Huh? What does that have to do with anything? You can never be too sure. I always eat with Dolly, just the two of us. Dolly's homemade lunches are just the greatest. Based off the fact we haven't heard anything about a Dolly in the first two games, either she died or they broke up. Sorry, Phoenix. Mini omelets are magically delicious. Ouch! Why did you punch me in the jaw? I'm sorry, I just felt like hurting someone all of a sudden. I think that's enough for now. So the defendant and the victim met at approximately the time of his death. And then the defendant returned to the scene for some unknown reason. I'm not entirely convinced by his explanation about the medicine bottle either. Let me be frank here, Mr. Wright. Your testimony cannot be trusted. What do you mean? I knew it was too much work for a little girl. However, there's one mystery that still remains. There is, Your Honor. Hold up, I actually want to check something real quick. Really? That's when my internet decides to die out on me on Twitch? That's funny. That's just funny. Blah, blah, blah. Audio test, audio test, audio test, audio test. Oh, actually, that volume there works phenomenally. There is, Your Honor. How the murder was carried out, of course. Just how was the victim electrocuted?
I don't believe the murder weapon has been produced yet, correct? No, that is... you are correct, Your Honor. So how exactly was Mr. Swallow killed? If I could somehow establish how it was done, maybe I could still come out of this mess smelling like a rose. How would I do that, though? Well... Your Honor. Yes, Miss Fay. I believe that if we were to piece together everything we've heard up until now, we should be able to solve the mystery of how Mr. Swallow died. That would be most impressive. Quite a brash statement coming from a rookie. But even a beginner like you must understand the basic rules of court, yes? An attorney must be able to substantiate their arguments with evidence. Of course I know that. Actually, I had totally forgotten about that. Oh, Mia has a personality. I love it. I'm glad that she actually has one in this game compared to the first two games where she was basically super mature master and nothing else. Cared about her sister and a couple of jokes, but this is a much better personality because we actually get to see what we get to see inside her head. Now then, Miss Fay, let me see what you've got. Show me how you believe the victim was electrocuted. Crime photo 1. As for the cause of death, I'd say this picture captures it quite well. What? But there's nothing that would even remotely resemble a murder weapon here. I'm afraid the defense is going to have to explain this in a bit more detail. Miss Fay, where exactly is the photo and the murder... where exactly in this photo is the murder weapon? It's right fucking here. Well, naturally, it's right here. That's... What is that? A severed electrical cable, I believe, Your Honor. Remember the testimony we've heard. The machines that pharmacology students use in their experiments require high voltage. And because of that, there are special high-voltage cables strung up everywhere. So then the high-voltage cable... Yes, the high-voltage cable is the cause of death. That is the most likely explanation. That certainly sounds plausible. Well, Mr. Payne, what do you have to say about this? Well, I believe some praise is in order. Don't toy with me, old man. Now, the victim's cause of death may indeed have been a high-voltage cable. However, what do you think about what that really implies? The only one who had an opportunity to use the cable as a murder weapon was the defendant. I mean, gravity could have done it. That much is certainly true. Yes, and that's not all. We have proof. Irrefutable proof that'll establish Mr. Wright was the murderer. You do? Well, what is it? His fingerprints. Fingerprints? You mean that the defendant's fingerprints were on something besides the medicine bottle? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. As you can see, the victim's wearing a leather jacket. And as you may know, leather holds fingerprints quite well. You mean... Yes, it was quite clearly imprinted on the chest area of the victim's jacket. The palm print of the defendant's own very hand. What? I can think of only one way Mr. Wright could have left a print like that. Intent on murder, he squarely pushed the victim towards the severed electrical cable.
Order, 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 that's enough.
I think we can conclude that there's no reason to continue with this cross-examination. Stick a fork in us, we're done. Mr. Grossberg. My hemorrhoids never lie. The show is over, Mia. I knew that boy was guilty the first time I saw him. No, you're wrong. Mr. Wright is innocent. No further evidence is required to convince me of this man's guilt. At this time, I'm prepared to render a verdict in this case. Do you have anything to add? Further to add? Blah, 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 blah. Do you have something further to add, Miss Fay? Is this what you want, Mr. Wright? You still haven't told us the truth. The whole truth. If you don't say something now, the judge is going to hand down his verdict. But I can't just say it. If I told you what really happened, then I'd be... It's okay, Mr. Wright. I'm your attorney. You can trust me. Miss Fay. No matter what it is you have to say, I believe in you and I'll represent you to the very end. We've already established the defendant's guilt. There's no need for him to say anything further. Wait a minute. Mr. Wright, I'll tell you what really happened. But I've already told you, Mr. Wright, there's no need to further... I did it. I admit it. I pushed him. It's my fault. My fault that Doug Swallow is dead. Oh, that's what that effect was. What you just said, was that the truth? Yes, I was afraid that if I told the truth... everyone would think I was the murderer for sure. Well, as things currently stand, we're all absolutely convinced you are. Please give me one more chance to explain. This time I swear. I swear I'll tell the whole truth. It'll be okay, won't it, Miss Fay? I believe in you. Oh, thank you? I still can't believe it. He really did push the victim.
feels like my hemorrhoids are doing the Harlem Shake. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? When did this game come out? Trials and Tribulations. ...2007... This doesn't feel like the right time for that. What the fuck? I'm sorry, I'm just blown away by the fucking Harlem Shake line. That didn't even become a meme, actually, by looking at the release date until... When was Harlem Shake? That was when I was in high school. Harlem Shake meme. 2013! What the fuck? That guy, he was talking bad about Dolly. I lost my temper and gave him a shove. At that moment, I heard some kind of loud noise. A little while after I left, I started to get worried. So I went back, but he was just laying there, dead. Well, that explanation is really quite simple. When you pushed him, Mr. Swallow flew back and touched the electrical cable. He died from the shock. And that, as they say, is that. A simple explanation indeed. At the time of the incident, a light rain had been falling. Wet from the rain, the victim was more easily electrocuted. But when I pushed him, there weren't any electrical cables nearby. If there had been something like that, even I would have noticed it. That's true, even a doofus like him couldn't miss that. Miss Faye, let me warn you right now that if your cross-examination doesn't yield any new facts, I intend to deliver my verdict without any further delay. Are we clear on that? Yes, Your Honor. Don't give up, Mia. If he is innocent, there must be some kind of evidence somewhere that will prove it. I feel the only thing I would get out of this is what he was saying, and if that is important, it probably wouldn't be right now. That's pretty self-explanatory, I'd say. What kind of loud noise? The loud noise? And what would you say that loud noise was, Mr. Wright? I'm not sure, but it was really loud. It was like snap, you know, kind of thing, but I wonder if that was... Clearly, Your Honor, it was the sound of the victim being electrocuted. You're not qualified to decide that. What should I do? I'm treading on some dangerous ground here. Fuck it. Mr. Wright, that loud noise you heard may be extremely important. So try to remember what it was. How do I put it? It was like a sharp crack. Ah, could it have been... Yes, could it have been? Hurry up and tell us. When I pushed him, he dropped the umbrella he was holding. He fell right on top of it, and it broke. That was probably the noise I heard. An umbrella, huh? And did that umbrella belong to the victim? Yeah, it was a plastic umbrella, cheap and frail, kind of like the owner. Then again, I wish I had any kind of umbrella. It was totally soaked to the bone. Miss Faye, what do you think? Is there something important in that testimony just now? Well... yeah, I'd say so. This is it, Mia. The new information you've been waiting for. Of course it's important. No, this cheap umbrella is more than important. It's vital. I want to officially have it entered into the testimony. Yeah, perfectly fitting. Flimsy information for a flimsy lawyer. The court agrees to the defense's request. Witness, please add the bit about the cheap umbrella to your testimony. Alright. So Mr. Swallow fell on top of his umbrella, and you're certain of this? Yeah, it was right under it. It was right there under him. Actually, if it hadn't been under him, I was planning on borrowing it for myself. The umbrella, you mean? Well, yeah, I see I was wearing the sweater here. Dolly stayed up late for night at a time knitting it for me. I didn't want the rain to dampen the handmade symbol of her love. Oh, my stomach is not used to be used as your personal soccer ball, Mia. I'm sorry. Continue with your testimony, witness. Wait a second. It wasn't under him, though. Why didn't you testify about the umbrella from the very beginning? Come on, if I had mentioned that, I would have been able to counter the prosecution's arguments earlier. What do you mean by that? Take another look at the crime scene photo. According to Mr. Wright, the victim fell on top of his umbrella. However, if you look closely, the umbrella's nowhere near the victim. Actually, it's by the electrical pole. You're absolutely right. The conclusion here is obvious. After the defendant left, the victim moved from where he fell. In other words, after he was pushed by the defendant, Mr. Swallow was still alive. No! Order, order, order. The victim, he moved? Mr. Payne, the umbrella in this photo, where is it now? Well, it was collected by the police at the crime scene. I want it presented as evidence immediately. Let's take a look at that. But the umbrella could have simply been blown there by the wind. According to the testimony, the victim fell on top of the umbrella. There's simply no way it could have been blown there by the wind unless it was a hurricane, maybe. But... I know this matter. The umbrella seems relatively trivial. But as long as the smallest doubt remains, I cannot render final judgment. No. However, I still find it hard to believe that a huge hole has been blown in the prosecution's case by the defendant's testimony. Get used to it. You got a long couple of years ahead of you, Judge. Well done, Mia.
Pardon me, Your Honor, but it seems I was expecting too much of a free ride. It was foolish to think I could establish guilt through the cross-examination alone. I'm afraid I don't follow what you're saying. Let me guess, you have another witness. Yeah, exactly. And this witness's testimony will be incontrovertible. Well, who is this witness? Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Dahlia Hawthorne? You don't mean Dolly? I do, Your Honor. The defendant's very own lover is a witness in the whole thing. That's right, she was at the scene of the crime when the murder took place. What? No reaction from Nick? I'm sorry to break the bad news to you, my dear. Oh, that was so cool. Bad news? You couldn't be more wrong. Actually, I've been waiting for this. You can't be serious. Mia, what do you mean by that? I think this is a good point for us to stop at. Court will now enter our 20-minute recess. Afterwards, we'll listen to the testimony of Dahlia Hawthorne. Miss Faye, I'm sorry about what happened back there. It's all right. At least you told us the truth in the end, Mr. Wright. Yeah. So I guess I can start to relax then, huh? Relax, my boy. You can't be serious. After hiding such important facts. But the next witness is my Dolly, right? She'll save me. I just know she will. Why do you think that? Huh? What do you mean? She's the love of my life. That's why. The love of your life, huh? Would you mind telling me more about you and Miss Dahlia Hawthorne? Sure, no problem. Dolly and I, we first met about 8 months ago right here in this very courthouse. Actually, I'm studying to be a lawyer on the side. Anyway, one day she and I just bumped into each other in the reading room downstairs. That's why I really think it was fate that brought us together. As soon as I first set eyes on her, I knew she was the one for me. Oh, here, take a look at this. She gave this to me the day we met as a symbol of our love. That ain't suspicious at all. She'd been wearing it around her neck that day, but then she took it off, but before she gave it to me, she said, I want you to carry this. So she gave it to you as a present, I see. This darling little bottle filled with memories of my darling little Dolly. Certainly is a little bottle, all right. It makes me so happy. I show it to everyone I meet. I want to share my happiness with the whole world. Anyway. So after that, you and Miss Hawthorne started dating? Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she always says the same thing to me. Please give it back now. What a strange girl asking for a present back like that. By the way, Mr. Wright, the day you first met Dahlia Hawthorne 8 months ago, it wouldn't have to have been on August 27th, would it? Huh? Yeah, it was. But how did you... This happened on August 27th, right here in this courthouse. What's this? A newspaper clipping? Let's see. Murder in the courthouse. Murder? What are you reading there? Let me see that. Oh, I see. Mia, I think I understand what you're trying to say. And I think I understand why you suddenly took such a keen interest in this case. You believe there's some relationship between these two cases. Am I correct? I hope you don't mind, Mr. Grossberg. Allow me to read that. Very little information is being disclosed at the time since the victim of yesterday's incident in the district courthouse is said to have been a lawyer. However, police are questioning the 19-year-old college student who was sitting with the victim.
This necklace a fucking murder weapon? I need to finish this myself. Ah, yes, but I'm afraid what you have will not be enough, my dear. I'll go and have a look at the downstairs reading room and see what else I can find. Thank you. I want to do whatever I can to be of help to you, Mia. Well, looks like recess is about over. We'd better all get moving. I guess so. That recess sure seemed longer than 20 minutes, though. Or was it? Whoa. Okay, I like that song. Only good thing is that based off what I'm saying, what they said there, I'm assuming no Grossberg to help us at this time, just Mia. So hey, less hemorrhoid talk, which I'm always glad about. Court will now reconvene. Mr. Payne, please call your witness. This next person is someone who witnessed the crime as it happened. The prosecution calls Miss Dahlia Hawthorne to the stand. What the fuck is this shoujo manga bullshit? What's with this stiff silence? In my long career as a judge, I have been deceived by many witnesses. It is my job to doubt, to take no one at their word. But in your case, I must admit that you radiate a glow of complete sincerity. I can't believe he actually said that. No, now then, witness, could you please state your full name? Don't worry, sweetie, there's no need to be nervous. If anyone says anything rude, you can be sure I'll cut them right down to size. I'll bash them with my gavel. Stop being horny, Judge. Bonk. I love how they look straight at me when they say that. Thank you for calming my nerves. You're all so nice. I almost feel right at home. Not at all. It was nothing. If we may move on now. What's your full name and occupation? My name is Dahlia Hawthorne. I'm a junior in literature at Ivy University. I just want to say it's an honor for me to be here in your noble presence. The honor is all mine. No, the honor is all mine. Well, we know whose milkshake brings all the boys to the... What the fuck? When was that a saying? When did that song come out? Okay, that came out 2003. That one gets a pass. Send that to Anthem as well, because I like causing him mental pain with these. What the fuck? We know whose milkshakes brings all the boys on the yard. Sir? Is there something I can help you with? You just go on and say whatever's on your mind. I'm sure that there must be some kind of mistake. Feeny wouldn't kill anyone. I just know it. Yes, yes. I can see why you'd say that. She's gonna be a tough witness, all right. Only took her 12 seconds to wrap them all around her little finger.
Now then, please proceed with your testimony. Let's hear about what you witnessed on the day of the incident, if you please. I had been planning to go back to Feeney's place after the class was over. Feeney and Dougie, they were talking behind the building. Then suddenly, Dougie got all wobbly and just collapsed. That's when Feeney noticed that I was there. I went to go find some other students and they called the authorities. I don't know what to say. According to you, Miss Hawthorne, the defendant didn't do anything wrong. Young lady, as old as I am, even I recall how hot the flames of your young passion can burn. Nevertheless, it's my job to discover the truth. Please, tell us the truth. But I would never... That's more than enough, witness. I won't allow this to continue. What do you mean by that? Please, just let me proceed with my cross-examination, Your Honor. I, for one, don't plan to win my case on a bunch of paper-thin lies. You haven't changed a bit, Mia Fey. They know each other? What's this? So you two are acquainted? Yes, we've met before. Once. In any case, Miss Fey, the floor is all yours. It's good to see you again, Madam Fey. Madam? I'm no one's grandma yet, girlie. Yeah, this is like 2 or 3 years prior to the main game. And how old was Mia at death? I want to say she was 27? So she's only a year older than I am right here. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I've been planning to go back to Feeney's place after the class was over. Alright, I only really have one notable question. What the fuck is this? What is this? That's such an obvious, vague... Ugh. Also, Doug's jacket! Are you saying the victim just collapsed on his own? Yes. In other words, the defendant never touched the victim. Is that right? I was watching the whole time. Feeney never did a thing to Dougie. If I press her for no good reason, I just know the good judge will get angry with me. So what should I do? Feeble lies are not very becoming, Miss Hawthorne, so let's drop them, shall we? What? I would never. Miss Fey, I'll not allow you to badger this witness. I believe the defense is engaged in a fishing expedition. That is, she has no supporting... Please don't glare at me like that. I'm just doing my job. Now then, Miss Hawthorne. The defendant's palm print was found on Mr. Swallow's leather jacket. It has already been shown that Mr. Wright did in fact push the victim. What? There's no need to try to cover for the defendant. It would be much better if you came out and told us the whole truth. There's nothing to worry about, young lady. Just tell us everything that you saw. Yes, Your Honor. I will. If you don't mind, I'd like to revise my testimony. Looks like we're finally getting somewhere. Actually, I didn't see the moment he pushed Dougie. It didn't look like they were fighting, and I didn't hear any noise either. Well, this can't be right, because we know Phoenix heard something.
So then, what did it look like they were doing to you?
I thought they were having a nice, friendly afternoon conversation. Oh, give me a break. That's why I really wasn't watching them all that closely.
Did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all?
No, nothing at all, Mr. Judge.
Oh, I like the sound of that, Mr. Judge. Now then, please proceed with your testimony.
Let me click it. All right. Yeah, because if either she would have had to show up afterwards, or she's just straight up lying, because that loud noise is pretty important here. You said you didn't. You say you didn't hear any noise. Is that correct?
Yes, that's why I was very relaxed, looking at the scenery around me.
That's nice, but I just find it a little odd. I have here the testimony of your boyfriend, Mr. Phoenix Wright, and he clearly testified to the effect that when he pushed the victim, he heard a sharp, loud noise.
He said that?
If you were really that close to the two of them, why didn't you hear this noise as well?
Well, maybe the noise just wasn't all that memorable.
But according to Mr. Wright's testimony, it was a sharp noise like a snap. There's no way a noise like that could fail to make an impression.
Yeah. May I have a moment to answer?
By all means.
I know the reason why I didn't hear the noise. You see, the truth is, I had my headphones on and I was listening to music at the time.
Headphones? You mean that both your ears were covered?
The rain was just beginning to let up, but it seemed as though Thor wasn't ready for his thumb to come to an end yet. So the sky continued to flash and rumble.
Thunder and lightning, huh?
Yes, I'm afraid the sound of thunder. So I put my headphones on to block it out.
Well, Your Honor, as you can see, there weren't any contradictions in her testimony after all.
Wait a sec, Mia. That testimony just now. She said something that could totally change this whole case. Did she?
There was lightning, maybe?
Your Honor, there's a problem with the witness's testimony.
What do you mean?
Didn't you notice? She said there was lightning, correct?
Yes, what about it?
Well, lightning is actually a large discharge of electricity in the atmosphere. Am I right?
Now is not the time for a science lesson, Mrs. Fay.
Yes, Your Honor. Anyway, since the cause of death was electrocution, isn't it possible the victim died by being hit by a bolt of lightning?
Oh,
I
must admit that the thought had not occurred to me.
What kind of thoughts do occur to this guy anyway? This entire case is built on the premise that Mr. Doug Swallow was murdered. But that very premise itself could be mistaken. The defense believes that Mr. Swallow was in fact a victim of a stray bolt.
It appears the defense may be onto something. Could it be that the death was actually accidental?
All right, you did it, Mia. I'll be taking that not guilty now if you don't. Oh.
I'm hurt that you have such a low opinion of me, Miss Fay.
Huh?
I'm not a fool, you know. The prosecution's done its research, Your Honor. We found that there were no lightning strikes on that day at that location.
What?
What's more, we have evidence that the electrical cable is definitely linked to this case.
Evidence, Mr. Payne. Well, what is this evidence?
This affidavit. Affidavit.
And who is this affidavit from?
The pharmacology students who were conducting experiments in their labs that day. Allow me to read out the court the testimony of the pharmacology students. All equipment in the labs lost power all of a sudden around 3 p.m. that day.
Was it a blackout?
All of the lab's equipment runs on high voltage, Your Honor. So you're saying the equipment lost power because... Precisely. They lost power because of the severed electrical cable. The power outage occurred at approximately 3 p.m.
Which fits with the time of death listed in the autopsy report.
Exactly. In other words,
The victim died as a result of touching the severed electrical cable. According to the students, the cables were very old. They were planning on having them replaced in the near future.
I see.
Apparently, the cables had become so brittle that even the smallest bump would have caused them to break.
How would they know that? That means potentially someone else has died to this. That is depressing.
However, there is one thing that troubles me. If the cable could have been broken by any small bump, then it wouldn't have snapped if it had been bumped into. If it hadn't been bumped into, correct?
Well, yeah, I suppose you could say that.
Miss Fay, do you have any thoughts regarding the cause of the severed cable?
Your Honor, I don't like how this is looking one bit. I have to come up with something to try and regain some momentum. If it pleases the court, the defense would like to state its opinion.
Well then, let's hear it.
Who or what was it that caused the cable to break? With the current trend, it seems like it would be Phoenix. Your Honor, please think back to Mr. Wright's testimony.
The defendant's testimony?
He said that after he pushed the victim, he heard a loud, sharp noise. Now, this happened around 3 p.m., correct?
Yes, that sounds right.
Wait, are you saying that? The lab equipment lost power at 2:55, which fits right in Mr. Wright's timeline. In other words, it was Mr. Wright's shove that caused the power outage. Yes, the prosecution also came to that same conclusion. And it was that very shove that caused Mr. Swallow to be electrocuted. I'm afraid I can't agree with you there, Mr. Payne. What's that supposed to mean? Take a good look at where the victim landed after being shoved. See the umbrella? It's by the electrical pole. That's right, the victim banged into that pole as a result of being pushed. It was that impact that caused the cable to break.
Well, that makes sense, and the victim was electrocuted.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, but no, it doesn't make sense at all. If the victim was shoved into the far pole, then he couldn't have been electrocuted by the severed cable in the foreground here. Yeah. In other words, someone other than my client must have electrocuted the victim.
Order! Order in the court!
Ah, the lamentations of my enemy. How I've longed to hear them.
Is that a fucking Conan the Barbarian reference?
Ah, the lamentations of their women. It's true. The defense is absolutely correct. There doesn't seem to be any way the defendant could have done it.
Mr. Judge, sir, may I say something? The Madam Attorney's explanation. She said some things that are a little different than I remember them. What the? Please, just once more. May I please testify one last time? Please, Mr. Judge?
Of course it's all right. Just go right ahead and give your new testimony.
This is it. She's finally starting to show her true colors. Oh, wait, is she the murderer in this case, then? The truth is, Feeney pushed him twice. The first time was into the electrical pole. That's when the cable broke. Then Dougie tried his best to run away from him. But Feeney caught up and crashed into him from behind. The cable snapping and Dougie being electrocuted, it all occurred in less than a minute.
So after being shoved, the victim got up and tried to run away.
And that is when the defendant pushed him for the second time. I'm so sorry, Feeney, but I just have to tell the truth. Am I doing the right thing? Am I, Mr. Judge?
Of course you are, my dear. As painful as it may seem, you are. Now then, Miss Fay, you may proceed with your cross-examination.
Most of this, barring the pushing twice thing that comes out of nowhere, this all would line up with that theory. My only problem I'm directly having is it occurred in less than a minute. Because if I recall correctly... 255. Oh, autopsy report, not his profile. 3 p.m., that's 5 minutes. If it had occurred in less than a minute, his time of death would have been ruled at 2:56. I'll press this first. Did you actually witness the moment the victim was electrocuted? I'm sorry, I didn't actually see it. I turned my eyes away.
That's understandable. Yes, indeed, it would have been a horrific sight for anyone to behold.
If I don't figure out the contradiction here, it's all over. She didn't have much time to come up with her lie, so this is my best chance. There must be a hole in her testimony somewhere. Think, Mia. If there is a... Oh, shit. If there is a thing to press on, it is this one. But what? Can't get anything out of that. Hold up a second. What time does that say on the clock? Alright, so that's his left hand, so that means 12 would be facing towards me. That's like 3:05. That's a 10-minute gap. That's enough, witness. I'm afraid I don't understand. You will in a minute. Could you please take a look at this picture? Oh, that medicine. That's the one Phoenix likes to take for his cold. It's not the medicine I want you to look at. It's the wristwatch. It stopped up the precise time the victim was electrocuted. In other words, 3:05 p.m.
Yes, and your point is, Miss Fay?
My point is this. What time was it when the lab suffered that power outage due to this table snapping?
Well, according to the student's testimony, the answer is clear.
It was 2:55 p.m. Yeah! Would you care to explain to the court, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne? What exactly happened during this 10-minute interval? The defense proposes that it was during this interval that the real murderer killed Mr. Doug Swallow.
Order in the court. What is all this about? This is nonsense. The real murderer.
Even you can't deny the time between the cable breaking and the electrocution are completely unaccounted for.
Then who was it? Who else could have done what you're saying?
There's only one person who could have murdered Mr. Swallow. Only my client, after my client had left the scene, was there a window of opportunity for the real killer.
Miss Fay, is the defense ready to indict someone as this real killer?
It's finally time. This is the moment I've been waiting for. Yes, Your Honor, we are ready.
Very well, but remember, if you accuse the wrong person, you will be penalized. Think very carefully before you speak, Miss Fay. Now then, Miss Fay, let's have it. Who is the real killer?
Well, we have very few people to work off with here.
To put it lightly.
It can't be Grossberg. I wish it would be Payne, but it can't be. We know it can't be Phoenix, and Doug is dead. So that literally only leaves one option. It could only have been you, Dahlia Hawthorne. Why? How can you...
The defense is grasping at straws. 10 minutes passed between the time the cable broke and the time of the electrocution. What exactly were you doing that whole time, Mrs. Hawthorne? Were you really listening to some music while cheering them both on as they fought? I find it hard to believe that you didn't lift a finger to stop the man dearest to you.
Order, order, Miss Fay. What? I mean, why? That is to say...
Miss Hawthorne, I believe you did witness the two men fighting on that day. However, after Mr. Wright pushed the victim and subsequently left the scene, it was you who pushed Mr. Swallow to his death by your own hands. Ah! How can you say something so mean, Madam Fay? I didn't do anything.
Bullshit. Miss Fay. Oh, jeez.
Your Honor, please, I have something I want to say.
You, what is it?
Please strike everything the defense said just now from the record. What the? Are you daft? You're totally wrong, Miss Fay. Dolly, she couldn't do something like that.
Mr. Wright, get back in your seat. Bailiff, grab that man.
Ah! Leave my Dolly alone.
Oh, that boy. He's got himself in way over his head.
Oh, Mr. Grossberg, you're back.
It seems I've arrived just in the nick of time. I found a police report on that incident in your newspaper clipping.
Thank you so much. This is exactly what I was hoping for. Let's see what it says. All right, location, District Courthouse Cafeteria, August 27th, 4 p.m. Victim, Diego Armando, age 28, who is a lawyer. Suspects, Dahlia. Armando ingested poison while interviewing the suspect regarding another case. Okay, I know what's in that bottle now. Traces of poison were found in the victim's coffee cup. No poison was found in the vicinity or on the suspect's person. It is unclear how the poison entered the victim's coffee cup. I think I know.
You'd better take a good look at it. It, details how you came to lose your boyfriend.
Oh. So this is personal.
Now then, the defense has made a very serious accusation. Mr. Payne, what do you have to say about this?
Well, really, Your Honor, I... May I interrupt you for a moment, Mr. Prosecutor? Yeah, don't you worry, my dear. I have this situation well in hand. Yeah, that is... go right ahead. Madam Fay, are you seriously accusing me of killing my sweet Dougie? Yes, I am. Not only am I saying you murdered Doug Swallow, but you also tried to pin the whole thing on your current lover, Phoenix Wright. I told you that you should let me handle this. Yeah, sorry, please go right ahead. How can you say that? I'm absolutely devoted to my dear Feeny. The notion that I would try to frame him is ludicrous. This is all just too much for poor little me to bear.
Ah, I believe the girl's trying to ask what on earth her motive would be.
The answer to that lies somewhere in this police report. It must. 8 months ago, an incident occurred in the basement cafeteria of this building. And then... that same day, the two of them accidentally meet. She was hopping the poison off on someone else. Your Honor, the defense requests further testimony from Miss Dahlia Hawthorne.
Further testimony? What about?
About the events of the day when she first met the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright. What could that possibly have to do with this case? The witness claims that she has no reason to frame the defendant. Am I correct? Well, I have evidence that suggests that she, in fact, had a very good reason.
Very well, then. The court grants the defense's request. Young lady, would you mind staying on just for a bit longer?
Of course not, Mr. Judge. Get ready for the battle of your life, Dahlia Hawthorne. I first met my darling Feeny 8 months ago.
Ooh, I like this song.
It's like we were destined to meet in this very courthouse's basement reading room. The moment our eyes met, my heart skipped a beat. We've been going on ever since that fateful day.
We're so lovey-wovey, it literally makes people sick. That's just jealousy. I think. Mr. Wright, do that again and you'll be held in contempt of court.
And now we enter the final act of our little drama.
As we used to say in the days of my youth, go get her. What the fuck?
I probably wouldn't get anything out of that outside of maybe like a time. That wouldn't matter too much right now. The courthouse reading room? That's a strange place to meet the love of your life.
That's not true, Madam Faye. After all, Feeney was not only an art student, but he was also planning on becoming a lawyer.
I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about you, Miss Hawthorne. What was a literature student like you doing in a courthouse reading room?
This line of questioning is a waste of time. It has nothing to do with our murder case.
Miss Faye, I'm warning you. If this has nothing to do with Mr. Swallow's case.
I have to remember the judge is on Dahlia's side. I better tread carefully. Keep pressing! Your Honor, if you'll allow me some latitude, I think I can establish relevance. Please ask her to continue on with her testimony.
Very well. Young lady, I've got a simple question for you. What were you doing downstairs in the courthouse reading room?
If it pleases Your Honor, the answer is simply this. I had come to this courthouse to do some research for a paper I was writing.
I don't need to press that.
But I'm going to anyway. Because we know she was here for a case. You were writing a paper? On what?
On the relationship between modern century poetry and criminal underworld.
Oh, that sounds like a fascinating research idea.
Am I getting old? Now even I've forgotten what I've forgotten. Again with the midlife crisis stuff?
Mia, why did that girl really come to the courthouse? Isn't that what you wanted to know? And speaking of forgetting things, you haven't forgotten the police report, have you? I went through a lot of trouble to get it, my dear, so be sure to read it carefully. I think I'm getting Grossberg's voice wrong, but he was also only in 2 cases in the first game.
Miss Hawthorne, you weren't here because of your research paper, were you? Didn't you actually come here for a much more important reason?
What is the meaning of that cocky smile on your face, Miss Faye?
8 months ago, right here in this very courthouse, there was another tragedy.
Another tragedy?
Do you mean the incident in which an attorney was poisoned?
The name of the suspect in that incident is listed here in this report. Of the suspect, rather. And that name is Dahlia Hawthorne.
What? Dahlia Hawthorne?
Yes, the sweetie pie of everyone's eye, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. She was the prime suspect in a criminal case just 8 months ago.
Order. This is unbelievable. It's true then. The loveliest rose can hide the sharpest thorn.
Miss Faye, that's not fair. You can't slander my witness with such an unrelated case. I, Winston Payne, will not allow it. Mr. Prosecutor, I believe I was speaking.
Pardon me. Go right ahead.
It's true that about 8 months ago, the police expressed some interest in me.
Expressed some interest, huh?
Mr. Judge, I know I'm under oath, so I'll tell the absolute truth. I did not commit the crime that occurred during that incident 8 months ago.
I see.
Okay, I've tied the 2 crimes together. Now I've just got to stay on the offensive.
Well done, Mia. Oh, you've really lit a fire in my heart and my buttocks.
Stop talking about your hemorrhoids.
I can only tell which is more inflamed, my spirit or my... God,
That's fucking disgusting.
I met the lawyer who was poisoned to discuss something with in the cafeteria that day. I left my seat for just a moment, and that's when it happened. From what I heard, it was a liquid poison that is lethal with just 2 teaspoons.
That's pretty specific. How would you know that?
Not only that, I heard it was a very special kind of poison. So you see, I'm innocent. I wouldn't even know where to get a poison like that.
So that's what happened here 8 months ago.
Yeah, however, as you heard from the witness's testimony, she had nothing to do with it. I think the defense is just about out of tricks. I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Payne, but I'm afraid the defense has many more tricks up its sleeve today. And I'll be sure to show them to you before the end of this cross-examination. Yeah. What? Why does the defense suddenly feel stronger?
Aha, Mia, you're glowing with a true lawyer's aura, my dear. That proud posture and self-confidence absolutely smashing.
I think I see where I'm supposed to go from here. I'm just gonna press the statement first to make sure. Looking for, so you see I'm innocent. My logic, 8 months ago, almost to the day, she was dating Doug. And Doug works in pharmacology, which if I recall correctly at least, pharmacology. Branch of medicine concerned with uses, effects, and modes of modern drugs. So he would have access to things that could be poisonous. And that's the reason they didn't arrest you? Because no one could show how you could have gotten the poison? I think that's a good enough reason, Madam Faye.
She's right. I think we've had all enough questions of Miss Faye's questions.
So in essence, the main reason Miss Hawthorne was never arrested for this crime was because no one could show how she could have obtained the poison. Then all we have to do is find a way to establish how she could have gotten some, right?
Great. Now, just how did a lit student get a hold of poison of all things? Doug. You wouldn't know how to get that kind of poison. I don't believe you. What? In fact, you had easy access to that kind of poison, didn't you? At your boyfriend's lab.
Boyfriend? You mean the victim, Doug Swallow?
That's right. Up until 8 months ago, funny number, Miss Hawthorne was dating Mr. Swallow. And if you'll recall, Mr. Swallow was a pharmacology student at Ivy University. Pharmacology? His laboratory contained highly advanced chemistry equipment. In fact, without such equipment, the culprit could never have obtained such a rare and special poison. Well, Miss Hawthorne, seems you had access to such a poison after all. And then it was a matter of slipping it into the victim's coffee when he wasn't looking. The only person who could have done that was the one sitting at his very table, you.
Order. Could it be?
Yeah, it's nothing but a spaceless accusation.
Huh. I don't know where that yawn came from.
May I say something, Madam Faye?
What is it, Miss Hawthorne? The amount of poison in the coffee was 2 teaspoons, correct? In order to carry that much liquid, you would need some kind of container.
Well, yes, that's true.
I was searched immediately after the incident took place.
Quite true. In fact, the entire courthouse was turned upside down.
But they didn't find a suspicious container anywhere, did they? She's right. They even mentioned that in the report. Well, you could have easily gotten rid of something that small. Excuse me, madam, this is a court of law. If you're saying I threw the poison container away, I think you need to show some kind of proof. Proof? She got me good with that.
Provide some evidence or I'll have to disallow this line of questioning, Miss Faye. Unless we can come up with some kind of evidence, we're going to lose this lead.
The police conducted a full body search of Dahlia and of the entire courthouse. Yet the container holding the poison disappeared right after the crime occurred.
If you're going to accuse the young lady of committing the murder, then where's the container this poison was carried in? What happened to it?
It's right in my goddamn hand. 'Cause it's a fucking bottle. That looks like it could hold maybe a teaspoon or 2. You were forced to get rid of the container in a hurry, weren't you? And that's why you passed it on to someone that had nothing to do with the case. Someone that you knew wouldn't be searched.
Who is this person?
Mr. Phoenix Wright, of course.
So the defendant was this witness's accomplice?
Of course not. She gave the poison to him disguised as a present. What? But that's...
That's a charming little necklace. Is this a little bottle? That's really quite cute. So what about it? What does it mean, Miss Faye?
The day that the witness met and fell for Mr. Phoenix Wright was 8 months ago. August 27th, the very same day as the poisoning incident. Under the pretense of love, the witness gave my client a present. All of it for the purpose of hiding the one piece of evidence that would give her away.
What? Are you saying there's a deadly poison in here?
No, there's no longer any poison in that bottle. However, I'm certain if the crime lab were to analyze it, they would find a trace amount. No! Ah!
Fucking got her. Order in the court.
On behalf of Dolly, I object.
Mr. Wright, control yourself. I won't let you bully her like this. Mr. Wright, I thought I told you to stay in your seat.
Mr. Wright, why? Why are you going through so much trouble to protect her?
Why?
Because I'm madly in love with her.
Madly in love. I haven't heard anyone say that in a long time.
Mr. Wright, have you ever thought about this? Why exactly would a woman like Dahlia Hawthorne want to date you anyway? I mean, harsh, but I get what she's saying. Well, I guess she must be madly in love with me too? Mr. Wright, please open your eyes. At this point in the trial, I think it should be obvious to everyone. The real reason that Dahlia Hawthorne is dating you is because of the necklace. She wants to get it back from him. In fact, he even said that she wanted it back several times. Dahlia Hawthorne was not and is not madly in love with you. The only thing she's after is that bottle necklace you love to wear around your neck. My necklace? Back there in the waiting room, you said it yourself. Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she always says the same thing to me. Please give it back now.
But a strange girl asking for a present back like that.
For Dahlia Hawthorne, that necklace is irrefutable evidence of her crime. That's why she absolutely had to get it back. You're lying. But you never gave her back to her. And to make things worse for her, you insisted on showing it to everyone you met. That's why she... I don't believe you. No, that's a lie. Mia, are you all right? The defendant, he's getting away. Bailiff, hurry, after him.
Mia, are you all right?
Yes, I think so.
That boy, he went completely insane. Where's Mr. Wright?
Where's Mr. Wright?
Looks like the bailiff caught him, so we should be brought back here soon.
Thank goodness. Oh, no.
What is it?
The bottle necklace, Mr. Hawthorne's present. It's gone.
What? That's terrible.
Mr. Wright must have grabbed it when he slammed into me.
Foolish boy. That's the only thing that could have saved him. What in blazes are we supposed to do now? Mr. Wright, this sort of behavior is unprecedented in the history of this court.
I'm sorry. I'm afraid your apology's not enough. Mr. Wright, what did you do with the bottle necklace? Forgive me, I'm sorry. It's okay, just give back the necklace. I ate it. You what?
You ate it?
It was too big to swallow, so I had to chew it into little bits first. But yeah. Ugh. What the?
What is he doing now?
Your Honor, you've got to stop the trial. Mr. Wright, are you feeling okay? Does your stomach hurt? The bottle you swallowed may have had some poison left in it. It seems the defendant has proven the prosecution's case for us. Clearly that vial did not contain a deadly poison.
How can you be so sure?
I think that's obvious. As you can see, the defendant's still very much alive. As for the poison, more like a fledgling defense attorney's overactive imagination. So it would seem.
No, there must be some mistake. The vial must not have had any poison left in it. Either that or the poison must have lost its potency.
There. It's all right, rookie. Trusting your client is the most noble thing a defense law attorney can do. It's heartwarming to see that you place this much faith in Mr. Wright. But that's how it is for us on the prosecution side, too. For example, I would trust the witness, Miss Hawthorne, with my very life. Which is why I can state that your assessment of her is completely wrong.
That's enough. Unfortunately, Miss Fay, I cannot accept your explanation of the events.
But why?
This may be impossible for a beginner like you to understand, but in a court of law, evidence is everything.
Even though I've proven so much, is she going to get away with everything?
Well, now that the suspicion surrounding Miss Hawthorne's been cleared up, I would like to proceed with the trial.
Mr. Wright? I'm sorry, Miss Fay. I totally slipped my mind. I'm really, really sorry. I know you believed in me. I feel like I really let you down. Mr. Wright? What are you trying to say? There's something I forgot to tell you.
What is it?
That day, the day I met Doug. Was he was it for your Doug realized something was up with Dahlia. At least that's how my brain's processing this. Poison? The same thing happened 8 months ago. A drug sample was stolen. She came to the lab that time too. It could only have been her. That girl is a thief. Stop it! Don't talk about her like that. Is it true? Did he really say that? Yeah, it's ridiculous. There's one more thing. After I pushed him that day, I got worried and came back to have a look. And she was there. Dolly was right there. She was crouched down next to him. What? She told me not to ever tell anyone about it, but... I'm sorry, Dolly.
Your Honor, this defendant is...
Miss Fay, you tell them. Dolly didn't do it. She's innocent. So Dahlia stole poison 8 months ago too, huh? You put that together with Mr. Wright's testimony, and there's only one possible conclusion. The defense believed that Miss Dahlia Hawthorne stole some poison on the night before she killed the night before she killed Doug Swallow.
The night before?
Naturally, her motive for stealing it was to kill someone. Miss Fay?
If you're so certain of your theory, then let me ask you this.
Yeah, this is your last chance. Think carefully now. There's something that she desperately wanted to get back. Therefore,
Exactly who was Miss Dahlia Hawthorne planning to kill?
well, if it's a who we're looking for, she wouldn't be trying to kill Grossberg or Payne.
I would hope not.
She wouldn't be trying to kill herself.
Nick?
There was one person that was standing squarely in Miss Dahlia Hawthorne's way, and that person was Mr. Phoenix Wright.
Me?
That's preposterous. After all, it was Doug Swallow that was murdered.
Well, it's true that that's how things worked out, but let's remember that Miss Swallow died of electrocution, not poison. The person that Miss Hawthorne was planning to poison was, in fact, you, Phoenix Wright. There's no one else it could be.
But how can that be? I thought Mr. Wright and Miss Hawthorne were in love.
Poor Mr. Wright. This must be killing him. Hang in there. I'll bring her to justice. I swear it. As I said before, the only thing Miss Hawthorne truly cared about was the one piece of evidence linking her to that incident 8 months ago. That's right, the bottle necklace. That's all she cared about.
But even so, why would she go so far as to murder him?
8 months ago, just after the fall of that attorney, in the basement cafeteria, Dahlia Hawthorne could think of only one thing: how to get rid of the bottle necklace as quickly as possible. No, it can't be. It was a pretty good move she made, too. The evidence was missing for a long time, but there was just one big problem. Although she got him to hide the evidence, Mr. Wright refused to return it to her. To him, the tiny little bottle was a cherished treasure. He even showed it to everyone he met.
You mean that's why she tried to kill Mr. Wright?
Correct, Your Honor. It was to retrieve that piece of evidence. That can't be true! Feeny, what a joke you are. Honestly, how can any woman ever count on you for anything? I have been told you time and time again to keep your trap shut about me and that necklace. You disgust me.
Miss Hawthorne?
It appears that this trial will be coming to an end soon. Fine. I can tell you plan on making me into a criminal no matter what I say. You are a criminal, Miss Hawthorne. We'll see about that. But first, where's your evidence? It seems your sniveling little cryberry of a client has eaten the bottle as a snack. Well, Hey, old man, are you senile or something? Why don't you say something instead of sitting there with that dumb look on your face?
Miss Hawthorne, what's happened to you?
Are you really that shocked? Or do you prefer me this way, Mr. Judge? With absolutely no proof, you treat a voluntary witness like she's a mass murderer. Well, I have nothing more to say. I'll be heading home now, if you don't mind.
But you're not finished.
Fine. Then ask this nasty old hag to finish up already. I can't let her get away this time.
Stop, Mia. If you keep pushing without any evidence, you could pay the ultimate price as a lawyer.
The ultimate price?
You'd be forced to take off your attorney's badge forever, I'm afraid.
No. You'd better think it over carefully, Miss Fay. Or should I say, Miss Gray?
Well, Miss Fay, can you provide evidence that would establish her guilt once and for all?
If I mess up here, my career as a lawyer is over. But to be honest, at this point I don't have any evidence that's well-founded. Even so, I'd rather lose my attorney's badge than let her get away with murder. Your Honor, the defense would like to present proof. Impossible. You can't possibly. Stupid woman.
It is the opinion of the court that there's already been enough discussion. Therefore, I will allow only one piece of evidence to be presented.
Just one?
If you are unable to establish her guilt, then I'm afraid that a very harsh verdict will immediately be handed down on Mr. Wright.
I understand, Your Honor. I can just imagine the headlines for tomorrow's newspaper. Up-and-coming lawyer plummets to earth before she gets the chance to soar. She was planning to poison Mr. Wright. If that's the case, then the poison was probably in there.
Well, Miss Fay, please present your evidence. Show this court irrefutable proof that Miss Hawthorne was planning to poison Mr. Wright.
Oh my God. There's no way. Here it is, Your Honor.
The evidence that'll prove her guilt once and for all.
Cold Killer X? Mr. Wright's beloved cold medicine.
Does our rookie defense attorney have a bit of a cold? If I did, I still wouldn't take this cold medicine. After all, it's been poisoned.
What?
Remember what the defendant said in his testimony? He lost around lunchtime on the day of the incident. Always eat with Dolly, just the two of us. She was the one who took his bottle of Cold Killer X. Then she poisoned it, knowing that Mr. Wright was going to take some. Now you're really grasping at straws. After all, it was the victim, Doug Swallow, that was holding the medicine. I would like the court to recall the crime that happened here 8 months ago. Where did Miss Hawthorne hide the evidence?
What are you talking about?
8 months ago, the poison was hidden in her bottle necklace, which she then gave to someone else for safekeeping. Someone she had accidentally run into in the reading room, my client, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Yeah, that's right. She did the same thing this time as well. After shoving the victim, Mr. Phoenix Wright left to the scene of the crime. That's when the murderer, Dahlia Hawthorne, appeared. With her, she was carrying the poisoned bottle of Cold Killer X. This, of course, was so she could carry out her plan to murder Mr. Wright.
I believe she did testify that she was going to meet with the defendant.
Yes, and she heard and saw everything that happened at the scene of the crime, including what the defendant and victim were arguing about in the cut electrical cable. That's when she realized I can't allow Doug Swallow to live. She used the severed electrical cable to silence him forever. Unfortunately for her, this is when the problems occurred. Mr. Wright, who she thought had left the scene, came back to check on the victim. And on top of that, because of the power outage, some students showed up as well. It's hardly any wonder that she was, as she put it, in a state of panic. Recall that she was carrying that bottle of poison cold medicine. She must have thought, what if they searched me like they did 8 months ago? 8 months ago. Yes, she disposed of the evidence exactly the same way as she did back then. She had someone else hold it. In this case, Doug Swallow. Oh, come on now, everyone. Surely you aren't fooled, are you? This stupid woman, she's nothing but a filthy, stinking liar. Right, Mr. Prosecutor? Huh? Yes, that's exactly right. It's just pure desperation. I wonder which one of us is the desperate one. So, Miss Hawthorne, this cold medicine, I wonder if you wouldn't mind taking some? Well, Mr. Wright ate that necklace of yours, right? Now it's your turn to prove your innocence. What do you say? If I'm just a filthy, stinking liar, then there's no need to worry. So come on, show us. I dare you to take some of this medicine right now. Mia Fey. Mia Fey. Whoa. Do you think you've won? Well, do you, Mia Fey? That's just fine. For the time being, victory is yours. For the time being? Well, I have a very long memory, you know. You and I will meet again. I'm certain of it. Well then, Mr. Judge. I'll see you later too, okay?
Why? Yes?
I'm gonna go spend a little quality time with the men in blue now. I wish you all the best. Whew. It's finally all over. I refuse to accept this. The defense hasn't shown a scrap of evidence to support their outrageous claim.
But even so, your witness seems to have accepted it.
I don't care. I'm Winston Payne. And I don't believe one word this rookie lawyer said. Well then, Mr. Payne, let me ask you this.
Yes?
Would you care to try this cold medicine?
What?
Just a little earlier, I could have sworn you said. There. It's all right, rookie. For example, I would trust the witness, Miss Hawthorne, with my very life.
So if she's so trustworthy, then I'm sure there couldn't possibly be any poison in here, right?
Yeah, well, you see, yes.
And here comes the backpedal.
Come on now, rookie killer, show this rookie how it's done. How much trust do you really have for this woman? Are you willing to bet your life?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Whoa, Jesus. Hey, Blue. And kick. Oh, double.
Are you ready?
Oh, Jesus. Hi, guys. Welcome. Hope you're having a good night tonight.
Mr. Payne? About Miss Dahlia Hawthorne.
Oh, Yomu, thanks for the follow. Hope you're having a good night tonight as well. Hi, everyone. Clearly my friends rated me, and they probably talked a bit about me there, but I'm Kyle. I play games. In this case, Blind Ace Attorney. Tonight's actually been a night. You guys missed me finish FF1 for the first time in a while, and well, now I'm here. Also, hey Jake. Yes, I am Kyle who plays games. Otherwise known as ThemTurk217. Not the M-Turk, that's a different guy. We don't talk about him.
Yes, Your Honor. Yeah, I'll file papers for immediate arrest.
You play games too, Somfy? Good to hear.
Tragic, but not surprising. I knew there was something suspicious about it from the very beginning. You fucking liar, Judge.
Never heard of games? Welcome to the new dimension, Devisa. Don't lie, just admit you were wrong. Interrobang indeed. By the way, Miss Faye.
Yes, Your Honor?
You said earlier that you and Miss Dahlia Hawthorne knew each other.
Your Honor, how we knew each other had nothing to do with this case.
Very well.
Games indeed, Phoenix.
Mr. Payne.
This can't be happening. It's a nightmare. It's like losing to my daughter.
It appears Mr. Payne has lost his spirit along with his hair. Does the defendant have anything further to say?
It can't be true. My dear Dolly. Sneeze into your elbow, Phoenix, for God's sake. Speaking of Phoenix, thanks for the follow, Fenny. I swear I fixed that. Unless. Let me check something real quick. Did I not put this? Ah, there we go. I forgot to shut down the alert source on this particular, or no, I didn't. Something ain't right there. I'll figure it out eventually.
Very well then. I believe I'm ready to pass judgment and bring this trial to an end. The court finds the defendant, Phoenix Wright, not guilty.
Yes, I always do a rapid head shake whenever I say that, by the way. Kind of hurts my neck after a while.
The court is adjourned.
Well, that cleaned up better than some other cases have, but it's also case one.
Mia, you were wonderful in there.
Thank you for everything, Mr. Grossberg.
During the verdict, I thought my hemorrhoids were going to explode like Mount
Grossberg. That's fucking disgusting.
Jesus Christ. Mr. Grossberg, do you maybe think you should stop talking about them? Please. Please do.
That's rather rude. Anyway, this case really made me think. What does it really mean to have a relationship of mutual trust with the client? Perhaps it is we veteran lawyers who have lost sight of this.
Oh, Mr. Wright. Congratulations. Thanks. You know, I was thinking. Go on. The dolly I stepped there on the witness stand. I don't think that was really her. What? Yeah, the doll I know could never have said those kinds of terrible things. Maybe she was like, I don't know, a fake or something? Boy, this poor kid still hasn't got a clue. You need to forget about her, Mr. Wright, for your own sake. Yeah, you're right. That's probably for the best. Also, you need to relax a bit more. Try to grow up a little. But out of all my friends, everyone says I'm the most grown up. Your friends are also Larry Butts, and that's it. So that's not a good comparison, Nick. What kind of company must this guy keep? Fucking exactly. Right now, I'm studying to become a lawyer myself. That's what you keep saying. But I thought you were in the art department. Well, yeah, I guess I am. But there's a friend that I desperately want to help. And if I hurry, then I should still be able to save him in time. I see. Say, Miss Faye, a lawyer is someone who can help people when they're in trouble, right? Mr. Wright, I'm still new at this myself, but I think that's exactly what a lawyer is. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'll study my butt off. I'll become a lawyer for sure. I hope we see each other someday in the future. Maybe even in court. And then Phoenix Wright 1 happens, and it's really happy except for when it's not. It's been 5 years since I was acquitted of all charges. I became a lawyer like I planned and managed to save my friend. But Mia has passed on to a better place. For me, this trial brings up a lot of painful memories. But it also brings up some very precious ones. And memories I thought that would never rise to the surface again. Mia's gone now. But even so, I can hear her in my mind. Phoenix, no matter what, always believe in your client. In a court of law, your greatest weapon is your belief. 5 long years. Something's happened that's made me think back to her words of wisdom. But that's a story for another day. Episode 1 down, and I already looked up one thing in regards to this game. The only thing I know about this game... That's a really fucking different tone there. This is the first Phoenix Wright game on the GBA in Japan that had 5 cases, because the first 2 on GBA only had 4. DS1 just added a 5th case to play more into Apollo Justice and all that. Alright, normally this would be where I end, but since we just got double rated, let's go a little bit at least into the second case. The time is 1 a.m. Beep. Beep. Oh, is this gonna be a fucking bomb? Oh, no. Oh, thank God. That is a radically different tone. Phew. What a relief. Glad the jewel's still safe. Gumshoe? Aha, you said it, pal. Must have been a rock solid security that scared him off. Would you mind opening the safe just to double check? I hope I wasn't supposed to memorize which direction that was going. Oh, shit. We've been had. Mask to mask salutations. Out front, guards! Turn on the searchlights! Better luck next time, gentlemen. You'll never see him coming. Oh, Jesus Christ, he's flying. A superhero. Excuse me, but I'm afraid I must be leaving now. We shall meet again when the next moon is full. Did that man just T-pose off into the distance? You've been stuck in the second case for so long. Oh, are you also playing Trials and Tribulations, Crusader? Admittedly, having more fun with this already than I did at least the latter half of Final Fantasy 1. because between a certain someone who joined call for the second stream of FF1 and the final boss of FF1 kicking my ass for a little bit. This is just a nice, more relaxing thing. You are? Good to hear. Glad to hear someone else isn't as late to the series as I am. Or is as late. Hey, Nick, get a load of this. Hey, are you listening to me? You can clean the toilet later. This is important. What are you freaking out about now? Today will be the last time you talk to me that way. Huh? We're about to hit the big time. Big time? Then what do you mean by we? You know what I mean? You and me are... Ha! Don't be silly. Talking about me and Pearly, of course. Hello, it's a pleasure to see you again, Mr. Nick. Pearls, you haven't changed a bit. Wait, what are you doing here anyway? Haven't you heard, Mr. Nick? Here, take a look at this. What's this? Some kind of poster? Oh, shit. The Ami thing from the second game. Karain Village. Isn't that... that's right. That's our hometown. That's our hometown. Pearly and mine, that is. Been playing the remaster trilogy. I would have done that if I had owned it. Honestly, I might invest in it now just to support the game. Also, wait a minute. I fucking see that. Lord and Taylor shit. Ugh. What's this about treasures from the boonies? Ha ha ha, very funny. You can laugh all you want, but you'll be singing another tune tonight. Tonight? What about tonight? The Treasures of Karain exhibit doesn't actually start until next week, but the promoter sent us some special VIP entry passes. That's why I dressed up extra special today. What do you think, Nick? Did you change the color of your Magatama? Ha! Same Maya. Different day. This young lady here is Maya Fey. The younger sister of Mia Fey. My friend and mentor. I first met her 2 years ago, so we're about a year after Justice for All then. I was working on the case surrounding Mia's death, and ever since then, I've been the one who's been keeping this law office afloat from behind the scenes. Actually, that's just a cover for her true identity. In reality, she's a spirit medium, and a bit of a shady character. Hey, who are you calling shady? God, I love Mia. And this little girl's Pearl Faye, but I usually call her Pearls. She's Maya's cousin and a spirit medium in training herself. I know I'm a bit young, but I want to help in any way I can, Mr. Nick. Bun Bun appears, dabbing for the return of Maya. Karain Village is the home of the mysterious Karain channeling technique, and Maya here is the daughter of the Karain School of Channeling's master. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's no joke. I've seen her power with my own eyes. It's the real thing, all right. Earth 2 Nick, how long are you gonna make two gorgeous women like us wait? Yeah, Mr. Nick. I can't wait any longer. I want to see the exhibit. Looks like I don't get a choice here. Might as well head on out. Lordly Taylor, the city's fanciest and most expensive department store. So it is a fucking Lord and Taylor. Yeah, Maya. I mean, Mia can come back at any point. It's kind of a whole plot thing. Treasure exhibit, huh? I have to admit, I'm pretty impressed. Yeah, I might say words the wrong way multiple times, Crusader, by the way. And to anyone else who's here that's not usually here. I have the good voice, but I don't speak the well, I think is the best way to put it. I stumble all over my words sometimes. A good example of it, actually, I was editing a video today with me that had me and my friend Anthem in it. And I was talking about an enemy drop in an RPG. And I said, they can kill some good items, meaning they can drop some good items. And I distinctly remember saying the word drop there, but I didn't. Wow, this is awesome. Yeah, you can make even the cheapest junk look great. Well, depends on how you display it. Oh, they even have the dusty old hanging scroll that was in the Fey Manor storeroom. Oh yeah, I remember scribbling on it when I was a little girl. On a family heirloom? Say, Nick,
The person in charge of this exhibition is waiting for us in the basement warehouse.
Alright.
I guess we should go and say hello.
Now, one thing I want to make sure of. Yep, Magatama's still there, which means psych locks are still a mechanic. Basement warehouse. This looks almost exactly like the fucking parking lot from the 5th case in Ace Attorney 1. Brr. Yep, this is a basement, all right?
This place is scary. I feel like a monster could jump in at any time. Don't be scared, Pearly. I'll protect you.
Oh, Mr. Wright?
Ah, a monster! You were right!
Huh? A monster? Yo! Adrian! God, she looks even more like fucking Lieutenant Hawkeye. Yeah, I think it's mostly just the industrial thing. Adrian Andrews!
Good evening. It's good to see you again.
You? I know you!
Nice to see you again, too, little miss. Ah, hello. Is she a friend of yours, Nick? And how do you know her, Pearly? Nice to meet you. I'm Adrian Andrews. I'm in charge of the promotion and planning for this treasure exhibit. I'm also responsible for the security arrangements. Oh, nice to meet you.
Adrian sure has changed since we last met. Yeah, she went from looking like Zero Suit Samus to just straight up Lieutenant Hawkeye from Full Metal Alchemist. What I'm trying to say is, she's cute. Also, could probably, she probably couldn't kick my ass. Yet. Has yet to be proven. But probably could. Adrian sure has changed since we last met. So this is the warehouse. The really valuable exhibit items are still stored away in here. No character theme? Unusual.
Really has been a long time, hasn't it, Mr. Wright? Nick, what's going on? Who is this woman?
Why are you spazzing out on me?
What? I just thought it'd be more dramatic if I got all worked up, that's all. Mystic Maya, you shouldn't let him off the hook so easily.
Please, Maya, don't say anything that'll needle pearls further.
Mr. Wright was there for me when I really needed help.
It was something that happened 7 months ago. Okay, so Ace Attorney 2 ended 7 months prior. Okay. You remember, don't you? The Nickel Samurai case?
Not really. I was stuck in a dark wine cellar. Did that escape your memory, Nick?
Fair enough.
After that, I quit being a manager and started this job.
Wow, that's tough. I'm sorry, Miss Andrews. If it wasn't for us.
No, don't say that. I'm glad the whole thing happened. Thanks to you and everyone else that was involved, I was able to change my whole life. I really am grateful.
Whew, that's a relief. I'm really impressed, Miss Andrews. Handling a huge exhibition like this must have been very tiring. Well, Lordly Taylor is celebrating their 200th anniversary this year. Lord and Taylor. How long has this company been around? $195 ago. Wait, what? Defunct 2021? It's been 6 days and a mass corporation's already died. What? The rest of the remaining 20 liquidating stores are expected to close between January and February 2021. Huh. Well, they're not making it to their 200th anniversary. Whoopsie.
The works on display in the main exhibition hall are the finest museums.
Woohoo!
Did you hear that, Pearly? The finest museums.
Yeah, I did. That's really wonderful. So this basement warehouse is pretty well protected, huh?
Of course it is. After all, there are some priceless treasures here.
The security guards are all very highly trained as well. That sounds good. So what's with that face she's making? Okay then. Whoa.
That's a big statue.
And I've seen this sword in things. I think that's a lightning rod of some sort, to be frank. Mystic Maya, take a look next to the door. That's Mystic Ami, right? Yeah, it's a statue of the woman who invented the Karain channeling technique, Ami Faye. The statue's on loan from one of the training halls of the Faye branch family. In fact, it just arrived this morning. What's that creepy-looking thing she's holding? Don't ask me. How should I know? Well, you are the future master, right? Maybe so, but this is the first time I've ever seen this statue. That thing is the Karain Shito. It's a ceremonial sword. It's not a real weapon, so the blade isn't sharp. Ah, phooey. I wanted to cut something. I'll always love Maya. Because she is the most chaotic person in this fucking series. In the best way. Why are you eyeing me for? Maya, please, you've already been on the the defense stand so many times. We don't need it to happen again. Oh, look, it's already 8. Have you all eaten yet? Well, actually, I've already made a reservation at the restaurant on the 12th floor. Why don't we all dine together? Ooh, I like the sound of that. Dine. It sounds so fancy. They probably won't have burgers, Maya. I'll have the kids' lunch. Pearly, it's dinner, not lunch. Why don't you go for it and really eat your fill with a kid's dinner? Okay, in that case, one kid's dinner for me. Shall we head upstairs then? After that pleasant evening, all that remained was to wait for the exhibition's opening. It was wonderful seeing Miss Andrews looking so happy. None of us could have imagined. Oh, here it comes. That the very next day, something terrible would happen. Ah, shit. Nick, this is terrible. What the? You're cleaning the toilet again? I never knew you were such a toilet freak. Give me a break, would you? My brain just hit the snooze button for the 5th time. I'm gonna turn on the TV. We've got an update on the recent treasure heist. Based on clues found at the scene of the crime, authorities have announced... This is a fucking Persona character. That they believed it was the work of the renowned phantom thief, Mask to Mask. I like this song, though. Actually, I call him a Persona character, but he looks more like a character I'd see out of WarioWare. Mask the Mask? According to a spokesperson, Lordly Taylor received this threat letter some days ago. This is the 5th heist by this phantom thief who only targets rare treasures. Lordly Taylor? Well, Nick, what are you gonna do? Don't you dare go back to scrubbing the toilet. Treasure? Lordly Taylor? You don't think. Yes, now get up, Nick. It was stolen by Mask to Mask. Our most valuable treasure. The Karain Sacred Urn was stolen. What? Refresh my memory a little. What's the Sacred Urn? It's only the most important treasure in Karain Village? That's all? Look, it's right there on this poster. Don't you remember what's inside? The urn contains a very important soul. Namely, the soul mystic Ami Faye, the founder of the Karain channeling technique. Right, Pearly? Yes, that's right. Hold up. I thought that urn had the name Ami written on it. Now it says I am. Any idea how that happened, Pearly? Oh, she doesn't know that's right. Huh? Well, there's something's best left unsolved, wouldn't you say, Mr. Nick? Oh, that's right. 1 year ago, there was a murder in Karain Village, Maya's hometown. The Sacred Urn turned out to be an important clue in that case. that a certain somebody broke. Okay, the toilet is shinier than the judge's head. So let's see what's next.
What's wrong with you, Nick?
What do you mean?
What do you mean, what, Mr. Nick? Your beloved Mystic Maya's treasure has been stolen. Doesn't that even bother you?
But I thought the urn was the village's treasure, so I don't see how...
The village is Mystic Maya. She's the future master of the Karain School of Channeling. You know what I'm talking about, Mr. Nick? I won't let you say you don't.
Okay, I do. So what am I supposed to do about it? Isn't it obvious? Go and find the bad guy who did this.
Yeah, and get the sacred urn back.
But I'm not a detective, I'm a lawyer.
That has nothing to do with this. If you're a real gentleman, you would find it for your beloved Mystic Maya.
Man, oh man, there's no winning against
Pearl's fairy tale image of love.
So what's the name of this bad guy again?
Mask to Mask, Nick. Make a note of it. Mask to Mask. Ah, it was terrible. I was arrested and everything.
I think I'll go until 2:40. No, 2:30. I'll go for just a few more minutes. 1 year ago, the murder in Karain village. A man was killed during one of Maya's spirit channelings, and this urn wound up being the key piece of evidence that proved her innocence.
Mr. Nick, would you mind not telling Mystic Maya about that? You promised, remember? You said you would tell anyone I broke the urn?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Now I remember this urn used to say Ami on it. Until Pearls accidentally broke it into a million pieces. She tried to secretly fix it. Let's just say it didn't work out so well.
Sorry, I'm not so good at arts and crafts. Spelling either.
Anyway, this is how her glowing project turned out. She put the pieces back together wrong, and now instead of Almy, it says I am. If anything, I'm more impressed she managed to put it together so wrong that it still worked. If that's still like stuck together even with the glue. No, I can't believe no one's noticed this until now, a whole year later.
I can't believe it myself.
All right, over to the exhibition hall. Probably. Yeah.
Right, let's see if we can find some clues that might lead us to the bad guy.
But it doesn't look like anything's been disturbed.
Yeah, it looks pretty much the same as it did last night. Bad guy, huh?
Hey, you can't poke around here, pal.
Wait a minute, that voice. Oh no, not him again.
Hey, motherfucker, don't you say that to about Gumshoe. He is the best character in this series.
All right, have a good night, Crusader. We're gonna be ending in a few moments anyway, so I'll probably be joining you in that regard soon enough.
It's you, and I'm the one who should be saying not again. Why is it every time something bad happens, you always show up, pal?
I should be asking you that. Aren't there any other detectives?
No, I should be asking you that. What are you doing hanging around here?
Hey, I asked you first. Why are you here
All right, we got it. Why don't you two kiss and make up already? Hello, it's been a long time, Mr. Scruffy Detective.
Oh, it's you, little missy. Actually, my name's Gumshoe. Detective Dick Gumshoe. Now's a good chance for you to try and remember it, right?
And if it's too long for you, you can just call him Dick. Okay, it's good to see you again, Mr. Detective Dick.
Yeah, good to see you again, too, I guess.
All right, we'll talk to Gumshoe, then we'll end off.
Mr. Detective Dick, can you tell us about what happened?
Oh, you're really trying to remember my name. Atta girl. It's just Gumshoe, all right? Anyway, the thief stole something called the Sacred Urn.
I know about that.
Oh, well, the criminal's name is Mask to Mask.
I know about that, too. Detective, can't you tell us something other than that?
Well, I guess I sort of kind of owe you guys in a way. Crime occurred last night around 1:30 in the morning.
How exactly do you know that?
We got an emergency phone call from a guard at the scene of the crime, pal. He said the urn was just stolen.
The scene of the crime? You mean here, right?
Wrong. That urn was being kept under careful guard in the basement warehouse.
Basement warehouse, huh?
So who was guarding the basement warehouse?
That guy. It's all his fault the thief got away. Pal, he solves one case and then gets a swelled head, thinking he's an ace detective.
Ace detective?
Hey, Detective Gumshoe, about this mask to mask. Is he famous?
What? You're joking. Right, Nick? Mask to Mask is the hottest thing since sliced bread.
Sometimes he appears as a museum guard. Other times he appears as a big brown bear known to surprise unsuspecting victims. But underneath those disguises is a true mask to mask.
So he's some kind of master of disguise, huh?
And he only goes after the finest works of art, pal. Last night it was his 5th heist. If Lordly Taylor had only cooperated, I could have taught him this time.
What? Did he know he was planning on stealing the sacred urn?
Of course I did. The guy always sends his calling card before he steals something.
Calling card, huh? They mentioned that on TV.
Ace detective.
So why do you call him an ace detective anyway?
That's what he calls himself, pal. Didn't make it up.
So, what's he like?
Well, like I told you, Master Mask has made 5 heists so far. On the 4th heist, Master Ace Detective managed to get the stolen treasure back.
Wow, that is impressive. All by himself?
Yeah, I gotta admit it, pal. Maybe he really is as good as he says. Every time the thief sends one of his calling cards, we send our men on a stakeout. But none of us has ever gotten so much as a glimpse of the guy.
But Mr. Ace Detective was able to retrieve the stolen treasure from the thief.
Anyway, he's at the scene of the crime right now, looking for clues.
So he's down in the basement warehouse, huh? So what's this calling card?
Here it is. Don't show it to anyone. It's top secret. Okay, pal?
What's this mark on the front?
That's Master Mask's signature emblem, pal. You could say it's his mark. All his calling cards, they've got it on them.
They didn't mention that on the newsflash.
They're withholding that detail from the public for operational reasons. The only way we can tell it's a calling card is real now is by this emblem.
Oh, okay, so if they let that out, people will start mimicking that, trying to blame other things on him instead of them. That makes sense. Once you get famous, there's always imitators.
Mr. Nick, if you could work a little harder, maybe you could have your own copycat someday.
Stares at Apollo Justice. Sure. Thanks, I guess. All right, so let's drop a save. And that's where we're going to end stream for the night. That's actually the longest I think a save is taken in this game. And also, just in case something fucks up there, drop a save state. I want to thank all of you for coming by tonight. Bun, Crusader, Kick and Blue, thanks for the raids. And anyone else who's still here, thanks for stopping by. Next stream is going to be, today's Tuesday, on Thursday night. Same time, same game. We're going to continue on through Case 2 and see where the hell we go from here. If you want quick updates on that, I really should get Nightbot so I can do this. I recommend you join the Discord server that was linked in that little call-out thing in the bottom right of the word I'm trying to find. Of the screen before. I send out pings before every stream, and who knows, might find some friends in there, come down to chat, all that sort of shit. Otherwise, let's find ourselves a raid target. The pain in the ass thing about being live when I'm live. This is Gumshoe's last mainline game. Oh no. The pain in the ass thing about being live when I am, not many people I follow are live. Unless they're in European time zones. Let's raid. I'm gonna actually refresh my Twitch page real quick to see if anyone went live and things just an update on the tracker. Okay, no, they didn't. In that case, we are going to raid. You know what? Yeah, we're going to raid Dan Reichert. Dan Reichert is a former WWE writer, but he was most famous for being with Game Informer for a while as a writer for reviews on their podcasts. Gotta make sure I spell his last name right. Hey, that worked. And Super Replays. The dude's super insane, but super funny. I recommend him a lot. And he's currently playing Tale of the Sun, a weird little caveman advancement PlayStation 1 3D action platformer of sorts. It's weird, but it's charming. Otherwise, have a great night. Take care, and I'll see you guys Thursday night. See you guys then.